So over the past few months, really, I've been writing a new ebook, and it's all about my top 40 odd locations in Scotland. I've been to every single one of them, and the book is now available to purchase. It's on an introductory offer, so if you want to get it, now's probably the best time. I'll put it in the video description below, but I'm really proud of it. And when I was curating this ebook, I was using a lot of my old photographs, and to put it simply, I felt like a lot of these old images were pretty rubbish. Now, when I say that, I mean that in a positive sense, the most positive sense possible. I've been going to Scotland for years, so a lot of these old photographs were taken a long time ago, and it was actually really good to have a visual representation of how much better I've got as a photographer, how far I've come. And it's something that I definitely don't do enough of. I've recommended you to do it on this channel before, I'm sure, where looking at our old photographs is a brilliant way to see how far we've come. But I just wanted to take the opportunity in today's video, as I head up a Wainwright in the Lake District, we're not in Scotland, to talk about that. Why taking all of these rubbish photographs throughout our photography careers is actually absolutely brilliant. It's a real positive. Now, I've always been the type of person in general, not just with my photography, when I do something wrong or if I make a mistake, I get down on myself at first, but then I actually feel quite motivated and inspired by it almost. It's the same with my photography, and these older photographs that I was talking about a second ago when I was writing this ebook. I know throughout the years of my photography career, I've just seen these poor images as an opportunity to constantly improve as a photographer. And I was thinking about this just then. Say a lot of those rubbish images from 5 or so years ago that have gone into this ebook. I shouldn't say that because it doesn't sound like a good selling point for the ebook. The images are fine for what they are. They're a good representation of the locations that I'm trying to share with you. But anyway, those images were taken about 5 years ago. I'm quite happy with where my photography is now, but where am I going to be in another 5 years from now, and then another 5 years from then? I think as long as I'm always willing to grow and improve as a photographer, I find that really inspiring and very, very motivating. That, again, only as long as I'm willing to continue to learn new things and to improve and to grow as a photographer and to put the work in, it can only go one way. My photographs can only get better and better. And I just thought that was a really interesting point to bring up, especially if you're watching this now and you're a beginner, and especially if you're not like mad on your photographs, you feel like they could be a lot better. Is I've been there. I think all photographers have been there. And look, my images right now, they're not perfect, they're not fantastic or anything, but they're a whole lot better than what they used to be. So that's what I would say. If you're willing to continue working hard with your photography, grow, learn, persist, then a time will come where you're quite content with your images, and you'll actually find it really inspiring when you look back on some of your older ones, especially if you think that they're naff when you look back. That's the whole point, looking back on some of these images, guys. Oh, I'm proper ripping into these photographs, aren't I, by the way? They're not that bad. They're really not that bad. It's just, like I said earlier, a good visual representation for me for how much better my photography has gotten. Yeah, that is so inspiring. So every now and again, we haven't got it as much at the minute, but we've been getting these incredible fleeting patches of light back over towards Greyfriar and some of the Coniston Fells. And I've just tried to set up really quick, just tried to chuck together a composition really. It's one of them because the light was so good. Fortunately, we're in a nice spot here where we've got a lot of these crags with some of the heather down here in the foreground. And it balanced nicely with Greyfriar off in the background or on the right-hand side of the frame, which was fantastic. I shot it quite wide, about 30 millimeters, f11 ISO 64 on 1/15th of a second. So I did have to get the tripod out really because I didn't want to increase my ISO. There was a lot of atmosphere on the right-hand side of the image where we had Greyfriar, a lot of nice clouds, and the light just topped everything off nicely. Now the fell, or the Wainwright that we're heading up today, is called Hart Fell. This is the one over in Eskdale. There are two Hart Fells. There's another one over near Haweswater somewhere. But if you watch me regularly, you'll probably remember that I tried to come up this very fell not too long ago, but a load of low cloud came in and we couldn't see a thing. So I just called it off. I think I'm going to turn around. It was a little bit pointless, but I'm coming up to give it another go. And I'm coming from the opposite side from down near the River Duddon. But it's a lovely, lovely evening. It's looking like that fleeting light may not come back. Fingers crossed it does, but I will take a sky like this. And these crags, I love them. This is good. This is fine. We can work with this. Actually, before I move on, surely one or two of yous thought this. I've got to grab a shot of this style and them beautiful crags in the background that I was just admiring so much. It's got to be photographed. Whilst we move on, we're really not too far from the top now. I think it's only about another 100 or so metres of ascent. I wanted to talk about probably the most obvious reason why I think taking bad photographs could actually be a good thing. And that is just because you can learn from the bad photographs. You can analyse them and you can understand what was wrong with them. This is something that's brilliant to just do in post-processing, sat with a coffee and just having a good look at a photograph. We all do it. We look at an image when we get it home and straight away we just think, rubbish, rubbish. What was I thinking when I was out on location? I still do it all the time now. But at the very least, I force myself sometimes to just take a couple of minutes to look at the photograph and ask myself, why? Why doesn't it work? Is the subject rubbish? Was the light terrible? Is the composition off? Is it completely unbalanced? Is the exposure wrong? Is it out of focus? Why? Why is the image bad? Sometimes I even write it down, my analysis of the bad photograph. And more often than not, it just kind of helps me to try and avoid making the same mistakes when I go out the next time. And that is how to grow as a photographer, if it's not really obvious, but it's something that has definitely worked for me. And like I said, a really good reason as to why taking rubbish photographs is actually good. It once again seemed that luck was against us as the craggy felltop slowly faded into a blanket of low cloud. The stunning vistas I had admired just minutes ago vanished, replaced by a thick, sombre greyness. Despite the uncertainty, I pressed on and made my way to the summit, clinging to a glimmer of hope that the clouds would disperse in time for the sunset. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We are in Clag again. Let me do a quick 360 as well, because any landscape photographers looking at this scene now, look at the potential for foreground. We're on the top of a mountain and we've got all of this to work with. Absolutely unreal. So, oh, you little beauty. Wait till you see this. Swings and roundabouts. We found ourselves a smacker. Yes, you little beauty. I'll tell you what, universe, I'll trade you £1 to get rid of this clag. How about that? I'll put it in the donation box down in the car park. Oh man, what a downer. But it's nice to be up here, and second time of asking, I've made it up Harter Fell, you little beauty. So I'm going to get my tea on. I've got the jet ball with me. Still about 40 minutes till sunset. We may as well wait it out, see what happens. I don't know if you can see that, but look on the instructions. It says stir for 8 minutes. Goodness me, imagine just chilling up here on the top of this fell, stirring me little chicken fajita and rice mix for 8 minutes, man. I think it means give it a stir and then leave it for 8 minutes. So I made sure it's sealed and we'll go back to him in 8 minutes time. So yeah, a little bit of a disappointment really about the clag, but it happens. It is what it is. It always happens, doesn't it? I mean, it doesn't always happen. That's probably a little bit unfair, isn't it? We get some stunning sunsets on the top of fells on this channel, but yeah, it's always just a little bit of a downer. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about with regards to taking bad photographs. Perhaps there's been some bad photographs in today's video, actually, but yeah, this is my favourite one. This one's a little bit kind of different. So this one will sound a little bit weird at first, but hear me out. I think if you can embrace the idea of taking bad photographs, or not embrace, more the idea of accepting you are going to take a lot of bad photographs, try not to get so worked up about it. This could be a brilliant place for your creativity. It can encourage experimentation. It can encourage different styles, different types of photography. Think like intentional camera movement, think telephoto lens, abstract, all of these different types of photography you can get stuck into. You can really try and develop your style because you're just not bothered that you're going to have a load of bad photographs. I think this one is fantastic. It allows you to go out and maybe think outside the box a little bit, not just go out and take all the obvious photographs. It's definitely something I've been guilty of, where I've felt scared really to experiment with my photography because I didn't want to take bad images. I reckon that has been about 8 minutes, so let's have a little try. It's always nice eating on camera. These something to eat's a quality, man, proper good. Now, before I start munching away, I'm going to leave you because it's sunset now. It's just past sunset, actually. I'm not going to be taking any more photographs. I just wanted to give another mention to my Scotland ebook. If you're heading up to Scotland, it'll be a really good purchase, to be fair. It's not going to be that expensive. There's going to be a bit of an introductory offer at the minute, so yeah, if you're going to buy it at all, probably best to get it now. And to anyone that does purchase, I just want to say thank you so much. It really goes such a long way into helping this YouTube channel, helping me keep coming out and creating content, and it means the world. And I'd like to think it's a good product. You're getting a good product. So yeah, if you're going up to Scotland for the summer or something, there's tons of brilliant landscape photography locations that I've been to, and it's an interactive map. You can click on the locations and it'll take you to the map, the topography map. I've got all parking on there and stuff, literally where I've parked my vehicles. I've tried to make it free parking as much as I possibly can, and yeah, you'll get to grips with it if you buy it. It's proper easy. You just basically click on the links and it takes you to like Google Maps and stuff. It's good. If you've got any of my other ebooks, it's the same sort of format. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy my chicken fajita. Apologies about the weather. It is the Lake District. We are in the mountains, and thank you so much for your support. Please hit the thumbs up button as well if you've got a quick second. That proper helps me out. I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.